You can't say, "I'll pull me tights up" when you're walking.
Keep coming down. It's most uncomfortable.
No, well, I mean, do you want to... Well, rearrange yourself. It was the sparkly frock I love coming down the stairs.
It was the excitement of seeing Lee Mead, I think, and then knowing I was going to see you. I
Yeah, no, you're a bit late on that one. It's a wonderfully totemic anthem, really, isn't it? It's lovely. But looking at that film, which we should talk about, this is probably something people don't think about. We all think about aid overseas. We don't think about eyesight as much as we should.
And, do you know, I was in Zambia, as you said. The population of the country is 12 million. About a quarter of them are suffering from really bad eye problems that could be prevented. And, you know, we take it for granted that we can walk into our local optician, get a free eye test. Some of the people out there that I met, little boys, little girls who can't go to school with blindness because there are no facilities out there, or they don't think that there's anything that can be done about their eyesight. And there are precious few facilities out there, but I went out there to open an optometry training centre, which has been enabled by Specsavers customers who've done all sorts of different things to raise money to try and sort the eye situation out in Zambia. And they've also built 2 eye care centres as well. And I don't know if any of you have ever taken your old glasses into an optician's to be recycled, but they do get taken out to Africa. And in these amazing outreach centres, I've just seen, I just remember an old lady who was so upset she couldn't see to read her Bible, and her Bible was fundamental to her whole life. And she was given an examination by volunteers and went out, she hugged me and she was dancing. She was given an old pair of someone's glasses, which totally changed her life.
There's the other thing that we often forget is how relatively inexpensive it is to change your life with things like that. Some of the injections that can be given now don't cost much. They cost pence sometimes to give, but it's the fact they're just not available. And this is a way, as you say, with a pair of specs.
It's just life-changing, and it's almost like biblical scenes. When you go out there as a volunteer to try and help and give eye tests and promise them that hopefully they'll be able to read or go back to school or get a job once they've got a pair of glasses, just swarms of people walk for miles, tens of miles to get there.
We know how irritated we get when we can't find them to read the paper in the morning. I'm not always like this, you know. It's only because the autocue's written very large that I can read it. But it is. When did you decide to turn your attention to health, and there were things you could do there? I know it's 2008 that you gave up GMTV now, so it's 3 years
I was asked to do things like that when I was at GMTV, but could never do it really because of the daily, routine of going in there.
It's a fine line, Fiona, because you can bore the pants off people if you're not careful, can't you, by going on about it? So you obviously found a way of pitching it, which engages people, makes them do something without them switching off, and that in itself is not an easy thing to do.
Especially in straitened times where I don't think there's anyone who hasn't been touched by the current economic climate. So, if you bang on about charity, people go, oh, charity begins at home, my husband's lost his job, I can't afford a pair of shoes. But, the situation we have here, however hard up people are, can't match what's going on with the poverty and the disease. And as I say, there are 12 million people in Zambia. About a quarter of them have got preventable eye problems, and there are only a handful of people who can sort it out.
All details on the website, so if you want to do something about it, it's a really good thing to do something about. Go there. You see, you could have been doing all this, of course, from the House of Lords.
Yes, but I don't think people like politicians.
No, but you could have been Baroness Phillips of GMTV.
Don't laugh, it was true. But I would never, ever, I don't like the honours system. I think people who call themselves by their titles are absolutely preposterous. And people who buy titles, I would not have anywhere near me.
But there must have been a moment when little Fiona Phillips, who grew up like the rest of us, was offered, a peerage. There must have been a moment where you thought, crumbs, who'd ever have thought that? And that in itself must be tempting. It's also tempting for people to accept them, thinking they can make a difference in the laws. They've got a voice.
Yes, but I think you can actually do more from without than within, like through charities or through just banging on about things. And, because Alzheimer's is another thing of mine. I don't want to go boring you all again, but I do think by talking about personal experiences, getting angry about things, and you can actually make a difference. I just think the House of Commons and the Lords is so mired in red tape and strategies and reports into this and reports into the strategy of the report, and you know, it's just, I think you can get out there and...
I do remember once talking to an ex-cabinet minister and saying to him, do you miss not being able to make a difference? And he just laughed. He said, I couldn't make a difference, and that was a cabinet minister, so they clearly feel that as well.
Yeah.
Hope you can make a difference with doing what you're doing now. It's vitally important, it's getting people just to be able to see when they can for a little bit of effort on our part. Thanks very much. My thanks to Fiona Phillips.
Thank you very much.